This is great. Let me make sure. All right. We are up and running. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Daz. I am the head nerd in charge. This is a wonderful, historical moment, the way to end season 4. You are in tune to the Rap Sheet podcast where creatives and culture meet. And today I'm in the presence of family. 25 years ago, this family came together to do something that really was needed in the city of Boston. And 25 years later, we are the production and the offspring of this wonderful movement, which was started by our brother right here, Mr. Erik Wissa. The movement was called Critical Breakdown. It was an open mic event that really honed in on what it meant to be socially conscious, whether you were an MC, a poet, a dancer, a musician, an activist, whatever it was, we have the stage for you. And it turned into one of the longest running platforms in Boston at the Jorge Hernandez Cultural Center, 85 West Newton Street. And here we are 25 years later to just give this great event its flowers. So I'm going to run off who we got live. Let us start with the owner and the founder, Mr. Erik Wissa. Make some noise for Erik Wissa tonight, everyone. The woman that doesn't need an introduction. She is the mother of all Boston hip hop and basically our favorite mom, who has raised us and disciplined us in many ways when we deserved it, because we all know we acted up at times. Mother Cindy Jakes is in the building tonight, y'all.
Come on, mama.
Yes, indeed. Two of my fellow MCs that I've had the pleasure of working with, sometimes recording with, but been great friends representing Boston. One is still, well, now one's in Atlanta. The other one's in Toronto, Canada. Toronto, Canada?
Yeah.
Okay. Session Sci-Fi is in the building. Everyone make some noise for Session Sci-Fi. And my brother from another mother, who I had the pleasure of doing also shows with and was a group member with at times. This man right here is a powerful activist, a loving husband, a beautiful father, and one of the baddest saxophone players, who I still think is Maxwell's twin brother. One time, for the one that be Afro D in the building. What's up, Afro D? And last but not least, the night owl of the crew, all the way in Israel at 3 o'clock in the morning. God bless this lady right here. Longtime activist, founder of the Boston Hip Hop Alliance. For those that don't remember, now you do remember. Shout out to my sister from another, Darcy N is in the building. Make some noise for Darcy, y'all. Love it. What a moment. Erik Wissa, let's start with you. This was your vision. 25 years ago, you had this idea. What was you thinking about when you wanted to create this moment that would bring all of these wonderful souls together? Talk about it, bro. This is your.
Yes, indeed. So I will say I got to give credit where credit is due. And basically, I was working with some young people doing a youth program, and the young people were hungry for some space to create a safe space where they could perform, get together, and just have that sense of community. At the time, there really wasn't any open mic spaces that was open for all ages. So really, the young people who I was working with at the time, we came up with this idea. Let's, get together, do this program. We started doing open mics at the Middle East, which is in Cambridge. And those of you who are from Boston know the Middle East, of course. We did probably, I want to say, like 3 shows there, and it was all ages. A lot of young people came through. The staff at the Middle East, while they loved the fact that we were bringing people together, they were not happy that the young people were not tipping or buying drinks and spending the type of money that they're used to. So we decided, let's find a space where we can, bring it to the community. And so Cole Rodriguez, who is a spoken word artist, we connected and sat on her floor at her cell phone store, which was right next door to the villa, or it was in the villa. And just came up with, let's do it at Jorge Hernandez Cultural Center. And Terry Marshall, for those of you who know Terry, he actually came up with the name Critical Breakdown. We were talking about names, what should we call it? And he said he went to a conference and there was a workshop called Critical Breakdown that he attended. And we were like, that's it. That's the name. And the rest is history, man. I think we just started connecting with everybody else and it was just a collaboration of loving spirits and people who wanted to bring the community and the city together. That's how it started.
Man.
Wow.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Cindy, I'm going to pass it off to you because as someone that has been a part of many movements in the city of Boston, I know when you found out about this, it's near and dear to your heart. What are some of the best moments you can recall about what this open mic meant to you, not only as a lover of the culture, but as someone that really stood for grassroots organizations such as this?
Well, I was really happy that it was even happening because we were running UMMF, the hip hop organization, up until about 1999. And when I went back to work, my first job working with teenagers was at Greater Options for Adolescent Lives. And Eric and Tina Williams came to my job and talked to me about, yes, rest in peace.
Yes, indeed.
Came to talk to me about this. And I was like, this is part of your job. Like, I always had to do this on the side, and just to come back into a space and see so many people having a space that they could perform at, like with us, just 5 years earlier, we could never get anyone to open the doors for people who were participating in the hip hop community, and was always a negative thing. And it was just so like woo-saw, if you will. You could come into the space and there were grandparents there and there were kids there and teenagers there. So I just really enjoyed the vibe. I mean, Critical Breakdown was not an event. It was a whole vibe.
Yeah.
And I forgot something too. Thank you for reminding me, Cindy. I did forget to say that I was working for the American Friends Service Committee at the time. So this was part of my job. I probably should have started with that. So A.F.S.C is a Quaker service organization. Quakers are, obviously peace and justice. They believe in a world free of war, free of prisons, free of, so my job was to engage young people in social justice work. And, we wanted to be creative in the way we did it. And so obviously Critical Breakdown always had as you all remember, we had, there was a theme, there was, speakers, there was info tables, there was, so it was part of it. It was actually part of my job at A.F.S.C. And a big part of that also is creating these collaborations of artists, organizers, etc. So.
And you did a wonderful job, and we're here because of you. So Afro D, Sci-Fi in Session, and myself, we were all Emcees at that time. And even though we were 21 plus and could basically perform anywhere, it really felt more at home to be amongst a community that spoke the language that we rapped about more times than not. Session, you were working with teen empowerment at the same time when we first met. So you already had that in you to be a part of grassroots organizations. But each one of y'all can speak individually as an MC. What did this foundation, this movement mean to you all as MCs and curators of this culture that we so much love, that raised us to this day? Whoever wants to speak, go ahead and speak. And Sci-Fi is just smiling.
I'll start. I'll start. So Critical Breakdown was dope for me because I grew up in the South End. I grew up in Lenox Street Projects, a few blocks away from Villa Victoria. As a little kid, we would ride our bike down to the Blackstone and play basketball right next door to it at Domestic Park. As a young activist, I spent most of my time working and just living in the South End. And as a hip hop artist, that was home for me. So it was a really dope way to be at home doing the things that I love with people that I'm familiar with. in a familiar space that are speaking a language that I totally understood and lived. And yeah, Critical Breakdown was just a super dope place for all of that to come together and happen for real.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sci-fi Afro D, you want to add to that?
Yeah. Yeah, for me, at the time, I had just moved. I just moved from Toronto to Boston. Like around that time when Critical Breakdown had started. I had met Session in high school. That at that time, and that was like my last year of high school, and he introduced me to, like, he told me about Critical Breakdown, how, like, you know, that something, an open mic is starting up and stuff, and so he had introduced me to it, and pretty much from there, he you know, it Critical Breakdown itself, like, it introduced me to a whole world of not just hip hop, but, you know, different styles, different genres of music, and seeing all these creative people from all over Boston, you know, and even outside of Boston, you know. I remember the dance group that came out from what was it, Nantucket, I think it was, or whatever. And they would kill it, you know, and they were this young, you know, very young group, you know. I remember them well. It was so nice, and just going to Critical Breakdown and seeing all these, you know, different themes happening, and understanding, like, different cultures and different things that's going on. Like, it just broadened my range of understanding just life, and just and, like, you know, the whole world pretty much, and being in Boston in general, because Boston and Toronto is just completely two different cities, right?
Yeah.
Boston's a lot more, I would say, pro-black compared to Canada, and compared to Toronto in general, where there's you know, thousands of black people here, and, like, Caribbean people, but there's actually, like, no real culture here in Toronto, right?
Really?
So when I came back to Toronto, and when I would see my friends and stuff, you know, I look at them totally different, and I look at life totally different compared to how they see things, and because, like, they only lived in Toronto, where I was always back and forth from Boston and Toronto, because my dad lived in Boston, my mom lived in Toronto, so I had this experience of being in two different worlds, kind of, and experiencing life in two different ways, and Boston just really expanded that for me, and Critical Breakdown opened up really my lyricism, you know, because of seeing all these people, and how they perform, and all the music that they write and stuff like that, and especially when I teamed up with Session, he you know, like, he introduced my vocabulary, like, into a broader aspect, you know, and so it was like a really great thing, man. And then watching Najma, rest in peace, and you, Daz, you know, seeing you guys hosting it and stuff, made it fun, and made it always, you know, open to express yourself, and just, like, enjoy your element and other people's element. So, you know, I loved it there. Yeah, man.
Beautiful thing. Afro D.
Yeah. So like sci-fi, you know, I'm not originally from Boston. I grew up in Jersey. And some folks might know I actually did my undergrad at Tufts University. So that's what brought me to the Boston area.
Nice.
But, you know, so I was part of the Black community at Tufts, but I saw that a lot of, like, my Black friends weren't really, like, getting to know the city of Boston. I'm like, if I'm here in Boston, I need to, like, get out into the city. And one of the ways that I did that was I did the Big Brothers program. So my little brother, Tevin, is now, like, 33 years old, which is crazy. Like, he lives in Florida now. But I think the first Critical Breakdown I went to, I probably went with Tevin. And so Critical Breakdown was just like a space where, you know, we were able to just, you know, to just build with people. And I just remember, like, for me, Critical Breakdown has become a model of like what it means to authentically do hip hop in a way that uplifts community, you know, that focuses on social justice, but also like puts youth at the forefront. And that was so powerful. Like so much, it was ahead of its time, because so much, like I work with people right now who are focused on those very same things and are writing articles about those very same things as if it's new. And it's like, you know, when I interviewed for the job that I got at the University of Illinois, I mentioned Critical Breakdown as like an example of like what I want to, you know, kind of what I want to do in terms of the work that I do. And so here in Champaign-Urbana, I do a lot of work around hip hop with youth. And I think the thing about Critical Breakdown also was just the fact that it brought the different elements of hip hop. You know, it's like the Floor Lords were there, and like, you know, the DJ 21, and like, rest in peace, and like all, you know, and Emcees, and also the visual art. Like I remember, like I would be like spitting a rap up on stage, and there would be an artist just like painting this mural on the side. And so like that part was powerful. And the last thing I'll say real quick is that I feel like Critical Breakdown also helped me build my confidence. Right. Because like I was someone, a lot of people don't know this about me, but when I was younger, I was super shy. I was scared to put myself out there. And like getting up there at Critical Breakdown and just seeing people of all ages just like, you know, getting into the music, and like all of a sudden I break out the trumpet and people be like, what? Like where'd that come from? Right. Like it was a space where we authentically like celebrated each other. And that helped me, like that helped propel my career as a musician myself. It's one of the reasons that I'm still in music to this day.
Love it.
Amazing. I always said Afro D is a type that will be a blessing to your show and a blessing to your wedding, because he can play the sax and serenade you at the same time.
Trumpet, man. Yo, you're getting the instrument wrong.
Sorry.
Yeah, all good stuff.
D-Rock, man.
Maybe he's seeing into the future. Maybe you're gonna pick that up too.
Yeah, right. I gotta pick up. No, but I appreciate that comment though, Daz, because no, absolutely. That's I feel it. Yeah.
D Ruff, man, get on camera, bro. Salute to the one and only D Ruff, man. Let's make some noise for D Ruff one time tonight.
D Ruff.
I am currently driving. So
you're driving?
Yeah, that's why the mic's not on. That's the only reason the mic's not on. Otherwise, I'd be on right now.
That's
I'm
all right.
on my way to get some food. So I'm sorry, I was in traffic getting food, getting dinner.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. For those that don't know, D Ruff went by the name Flames back then during the Critical Breakdown days.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't deny it now. Now's the only time where it's like, I can't deny this. I can't deny this at all right now. But
so we're asking. So we just been asking everyone, what did this movement mean to you and your influence as an artist to be a poet, to have a way with words, and what did this platform mean to you and your career as a professional and as a person?
As a professional, it was the first. As a professional, it was the first time that I really got out into my community and seen that my words had impact in my community outside of just like my friends and stuff. It was one of the first times when I didn't know anybody at all. And yet I ended up there. I ended up getting the applause that I got. I ended up getting the love that I got. I ended up understanding what community could possibly look like when on the South End, where there's so many, I guess at the time, I didn't know that there was territories in enemy lines and ops and all that other stuff. But you wouldn't have known that because we filled up the church. Like we filled up the whole thing. Like, it was crazy to me to see that. And then, especially when someone like when Status Quo showed up, and I heard like the Floor Lords and all, but when Status Quo showed up for me as a youth, Status Quo showed up, and this was during the dance crews and all that. So like to see that live and to experience that energy. Oh yeah, I was addicted. I was hooked from that point on. There was no way it could get me away from it. Like, yes, my school was one thing, but This is like, I can get street cred without being in the street. Like that's how I felt. Like this, I can get my love, I can get my respect, I can get all the things that like sometimes as a youth in Boston, in the inner city, period, you lose sight of that outside of gang affiliation, because that's where you think love is, that's where you think community is. So for that, that's why I'm kind of like, that's why it made a lot of sense for me.
Amen.
It made a lot of sense to me, and it was a great time.
I think because it was, I'm sorry. I just think that because it was an intergenerational space, that the adults were leading by example, and you know the younger artists were getting to observe the adult artists and learn from them, and then vice versa.
This is also true because Daz, you was something else. You was something else whenever they decided the DJ just threw on an instrumental and you decided to go off for about 2-3 minutes, all off the top, something ridiculous. So like, yes, Cindy, thank you, because you definitely hit the nail right on the head with that one. Because for me, at least, like to see how, as a host, to watch Daz as a host, as a youth, I can definitely say like some of his charismatic behaviors, I try to also make sure to mirror and display whenever I do my hosting stuff. And so it was definitely inspirational in that aspect to be able to see that and to also receive the love and respect from the elders as well, to be told you're on the right path, to be told keep riding that way, to be told like you're not in the wrong, like to understand, to get that type of love and affirmation is priceless.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're not going to do is make Daz cry. Let's not do this. Thank you.
I mean, I wasn't trying to, but if it happened in the process,
it might happen today. Listen.
Man, well, I appreciate that. Before we even go any further, I think we also need to take time to acknowledge both Najma and DJ Sun One for their incredible years of just devotion to this. Nobody got paid from this. Let's also put that out there. Nobody got paid from
we
this.
didn't get paid monetarily, but we got paid.
Because it wasn't about the money. Me, Najma, Sun One, Sci-Fi Session, we took on this because we just loved what it was about. It never was about the money. We never came to Eric and say, yo, you're going to pay us or else, bro. We coming for you. It was never like that. It was just a real community.
I moved to LA, you know.
That family was the main objective, but to not include Najma and DJ Sun One for everything that they contributed to this would just be, this wouldn't be a correct interview not doing that. So let's speak on Najma and DJ Sun One. Anyone want to speak on these two incredible people? What are some of your favorite moments with them, or just anything about them you want to just say to the open public? Here's your chance. Let's give these two these flowers. Eric, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, I gladly, man. I will just say that, you know, Najma is probably one of the strongest community organizers I've ever met in my life. Her dedication, commitment to working with the city of Boston, young people, organizing, not just young people, even adults. Like she trained adults on how to organize. Just a brilliant mind, a brilliant thinker, deeply, deeply committed. It was organizing was in her blood. I mean, it was just who she was.
Right.
And just, yeah, I mean, just a beautiful soul, beautiful human being. And again, she was one of the first, I think she was one of the first hosts with Session and Sci-Fi of Critical Breakdown. Oh, and of course, Nyla too, my daughter, who was whatever, 7 or 8 at the time. You know, but again, it was just all love from Najma, and just her reputation, her relationships in the community just commanded a certain level of respect from the stage. So I think it just held, she held it down for us. And then of course, Sun One, just again, another beautiful human being who was also from the neighborhood, knew everybody, grew up with everybody, just talented and super warm and friendly. And as you all said, did it for free. I mean, it was a DJing gig once a month where he did it for free. And the only thing he asked was for me to pick him up every night and drop him off. And that was it. And that was it. So, and again, committed to, I think, the mission and what we were all about, which was bringing people together and building this sense of community in a loving way. So, both of them just, as we know, just, passed away way too young. And just, I mean, it's, but I don't think Critical Breakdown would have been, I mean, along with everybody else, but they were,
they were,
for lack of better words, critical parts of Critical Breakdown, so.
One thing that stood out to me a lot was like the rotation of making sure that everybody was felt and seen and appreciated in the space, right? That's an incredibly hard job to do. If you think about it, like making every single person in that space feel valued, making sure that everyone's kind of on a level playing field and not getting not playing favorites, like that management and that mentorship and that example really stood out to me. And I think that's why, like Afro-D said, it built confidence. The reason that they felt confident is because they had security in knowing that there was a place for them. So no one was trying to like crabs in a barrel. Like it wasn't like that kind of vibe, because everyone was treated with excellence and was expected to demonstrate peer excellence. And I think that's what stood out to me about that leadership and that vibe that they created. It was so evident.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. And a lot of that was Erik's role in his doing as well, because I was the person that was in charge of the artist sign up for quite a few years. And it was a difficult task, but Erik always said, okay, let me look at the list, Cindy. No, we need to make sure that we have more youth slots. We need to make sure that we have more slots for the women that are here. And so there was a balance of everybody having an opportunity. And a couple of things that stood out is the fact that, there was no swearing. And then if someone did and they were new, that, the audience would tell them. And it wasn't like, boo, get off. It was like, hi, we don't have that here. And then everybody cheering folks on, whether they were the best in the house or they were the newest to their craft. So all of that stuff just brought a whole other vibe, because I'd been in some pretty dangerous spaces before that, working in the hip hop community in Boston. And you never felt anything like that before or after.
Wow. For me, it was a chance to really see groups become something like Jake the Snake and Return to the Essence, the Foundation Movement, Kiki Freak, like Ed OG, the Floor Lords, like all these people that would come that weren't household names that ended up becoming household names, that we can say today are some of the best in the city. Even outside of music, just politically and creatively, the way that E-Rock moves and the way Kiki Breathe Life moved and what Jake the Snake is doing now with the acting thing in California and so many other branches, Session as a producer and Afro-D doing political and social work, all on the side of still being a musician and an artist, like the many branches that we have grown. Like would I ever tell you I'd be hosting a podcast of 4 years doing something like this to bring people together just because of the culture? Nah, bro. I'd be like, nah, I want to be an MC for life. But even I knew how to develop myself into other ways to grow up as a man, both maturely and artistically. So what are some of the things that Critical Breakdown taught you as an artist and as a creative going forward in your own respectful ways that you learned from doing this platform in whatever capacity you served? Darcy, I'm going to start with you on that.
Oh boy. Okay. So I felt like Critical Breakdown was a space where I think the first place where I could exercise everything that I could bring to the table at one time. Right? Because like I'm one of those weird ones. I'm a music business consultant, I'm a publicist, I'm a community connector, I'm a networker, I'm a vocalist, a songwriter, a band leader, like all this stuff. And like usually I had to I had to pick and choose wherever I was in an environment, and this space allowed me to bring everything at different times. Like I wasn't doing everything every night and every time, but on these nights I would be over here doing this, and I'd be helping Cindy with this, or I'd be helping Eric with this, and like sometimes I'd be like helping with the sign up, whatever. So it actually I actually am saying that to kind of speak to the whole, because what I noticed is that all of us were in service. It was an in-service role, right? So if you walked in, there was no way you were just coming in there to Critical Breakdown. First of all, you were never coming just once. It's like Lay's potato chips. You can't have just one, right? And you can't. Once you're in, you're in. That's it. And the situation is this: that once you're committed to being in that space, and they give you that platform to shine as an artist, but it was a and I will not be too long-winded, I promise. You know, I'm a talker. It was more of an holistic approach, which, like Afrodzak was saying, it was really groundbreaking. Even now, this is groundbreaking. It's like still kind of, they haven't mastered this yet, like what you guys did. And it was like everyone was seen for more than just their talent. It was like they were seen as a person. And so that created like peer leadership, and eventually turned around to create more youth leaders. Thank you, Cindy, because you inspired that. Right. So they started out with like rough under the edges, or like, I'm not sure about myself, or I'm like, where am I heading? And by the time they finished even 3 months of coming, they're like, I want to do this. This is my mission. I want to be in this space and I want to lead. And I think that being seen as a whole professional and as a whole artist and as a whole person, it's like one of the most beautiful. I'm still in awe of where I am sitting, and all of us are in different places, but we're still here and we're still present. 25 years later, we are still together. We are all still in contact. Like, this is crazy, unheard of. The most incredible space to emerge in. Love.
So Session and Sci-Fi, I want to ask you the same question, because after Najma and I did the first 4 years, you guys came on as the host and brought a newer element, because you guys were a lot younger than me, and you really appealed to the more younger generation, especially you, Session, working with teen empowerment. You already had a relationship with the young folks. How did that carry over to this platform, where you guys were able to really speak towards the young people that were closer in age to you, that really saw you as not just hosts and artists, but as peers, someone that they could easily relate to? Speak on your experiences, on what your dynamic brought to CB while you guys were hosts of the show for the remaining years that you all did it.
Yeah, I'll say I pretty much just modeled what I saw in the mentors that I had around me. People like Najma and Sun One were people that I admired in the neighborhood. Like, they were the alternative to the street guys that were like with me. So I respected everything about how they moved, the way that they navigated through the same issues, and like the way that they connected with me personally. And like, they used language that I understood. They looked the way that I wanted to look. They said the things that I wanted to say. And they connected with people like Eric that were like showing people of color and power in ways that didn't feel like forced at all. So like them being from the neighborhood and connecting with a guy like Eric who kind of Bill Belichick, the kind of thing. He was like the coach of the thing, like driving the team forward. It was just amazing to work under that. So like having those three as like beacons, I was able to just model what I felt coming from them. And I don't really know how I did it per se, but it just felt like the right space to be in, and the right way to use the influence that I may have had. Being from the South, and I knew a lot of people being as a part of teen empowerment. Yeah, it was like I said earlier, it was just a way for me to continue to live the life that I was already living, but just here, and then just bringing people bringing people that I cared about into it. Yeah, man. There was just an all around environment for that, like sharing, taking the lead, being led. Yeah, man, because I was up there like in awe. So I was taking the lead from stuff that you did, and then like the first couple of years, like, this is how it needs to feel. Shoot, man, I wish I was better with the words, but like, yeah, it was just, yeah.
All bro, I get it.
That's all right. Well, for me, I would say like I said before, like since Session had introduced me to it, after like seeing Najma and Daz, after seeing them and how they host, like I had spoke to Najma one day, and then I had asked her about it, like if me and Session can host, and I think I spoke to Erik too. I can't remember, but I remember talking to Najma about it, and she was like, yeah, we're thinking about like getting you guys, to host it, see if you guys would want to do it, and then, and so I think I had asked Session too, and then we ended up just getting to do it. As Daz and Najma ended up passing the torch on for us, and for me, it was just like I'm learning to become a host, learning to become an MC, an actual real MC, and not just a rapper, and so it taught me to like learning to appreciate other people's music, not just that I have to, but I have to really start listening, and really paying attention, and that's where it opened up me musically more, in the world of not just hip hop but other genres also, and then hanging out with Najma herself. There was a time around winter time, like me and Session, we went with her. It was my first time experiencing Kwanzaa, because here in Canada, like, people don't really celebrate that, right? So it was my first time experiencing Kwanzaa and really getting a taste of it with some random people I didn't know, just Session and Najma, and like it was like a great feeling and a great experience to have, and I can always, that's a memory I'm going to always have and always keep, and from being in Boston, like my first actual job, like I was working at a youth shelter. I mean, yeah, like at a youth detention center, and being part of Critical Breakdown, that opened me up, because I was more of a shy person. I'm still a shy person, but it opened me up in a way where I can actually speak to people socially. Not just like Critical Breakdown, but my mom herself. Like she always told me to always keep a smile on my face and always be happy and always like accept life and everything, right? So being part of Critical Breakdown and just accepting everything and everybody and stuff, like, and working in these detention centers, and I still work in that type of field now. Like I work in the school system here, and I do like child and youth work now, and so like where I meet a lot of kids where at that time, being young, especially working in a detention center where, I'm just like a couple of years older than a few of these kids that are locked up, and they're like, how are you walking in here with a smile on your face every day? And it's just like, I brought a different, I guess, energy for them, and I guess also being not from Boston, and showing other people, especially I guess younger generations of of people in Boston who don't leave their just their area, and knowing that there's somebody else from outside that's here, and they're living here, and like there's I'm showing them a different, I guess, outlook of life, and so they get to experience something, and I get to show them that, and hopefully, I don't know, hopefully some of those
some of those kids got to listen to me and got to be somebody, but being part of Critical Breakdown, like it opened me up in a way where I can express myself and knowing how to talk to people better. And I'm a lot better of an MC now. I can perform the hell out of shows out here in Toronto. Like I crushed a whole bunch of shows out here now. People hear Sessions beats and they're like, yo, what the heck? You know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, like, you know, most times I just want to perform just to crush people, just for the fun of it. You know? So it's just like, yeah, man. Like I love performing just because of Critical Breakdown and how everybody performed out there.
So what sci-fi is saying is put some respect on my name, Dagnabbit.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
everybody was such a, like, if you like think about, like, I can just say I'm like still in this space, and like everyone was such a character, like everyone, like because we were all like known so much as people, like everyone's individuality really came through. Like it wasn't just like a random room and a random show, and you're like, you know, I used to do got a lot of showcases and R&B and stuff like in Connecticut, and it's just like a wash, right? But there was like when you like took time, like those who I took time with, they stood out, right? And actually a lot of them ended up being, they were actually from Boston, so I came up with them and I ran into them years later. But I'm saying that you know, so many, these are like all figures and individuals, and every one of us could be. And I love Daz. First of all, I want to thank you for being the king of the nerds, because we're all nerds. And we're all still doing it, and we're all still real, and we're like the kids that were like the nerdy kids, and you've made it so cool. So no, but that's you know, I'm so seeing that leadership. It's incredible. It's like I'm like
so wasn't Chris Theodot, wasn't he one of the hosts also?
Oh, wow.
I was gonna definitely touch on that because after Jorge Hernandez Center unfortunately stopped and then they tore down the building, which really still breaks my heart. Justin Springer and Matt decided to keep the thing going by bringing it to Hibernian Hall several years after we did what we did. And I was excited for them to be bringing it back. And I went and attended a lot. And it was really good just to see something that I can say I was a part of since day one, still be continuing and carry on this great tradition. Kept it the same vision and everything. And they really got to
Stan, not Justin.
Hibernian Hall, which was really, really dope. But before we get to that, Eric, I want to talk about the CD that we put together. And then the beach.
Oh yeah,
this was a light of mine. With
wait.
There we go. There it is, right here.
Oh my God! You know what? You know what's crazy though? I will tell you what's crazy is if you go on YouTube, you can find the whole album there.
I was trying to find it.
It's on YouTube. If you go on YouTube and you just search Critical Breakdown, it's the whole thing is on there. So it's kind of it's crazy, yeah.
That's
I was
cool.
speaking with Maverick, a part of the SOS group. He still has the original physical copy of the CD in his house.
Listen,
I'm trying to get him to email it to me so I can get it. That process was amazing. And then I also want to talk about the Peace Tour when we got to be around Dead Prez, Pharoah Monch, and Supernatural, and all this. Your expanding Critical Breakdown was just more than just an open mic, Eric. This fact that you wanted to put the CD together and do these breakout tours. To really just showcase not only the open mic, but to bring the artists that we all loved and always wanted to see. Years ago, I ran into Medusa. This was 2009, maybe 2010, when we were opening up the Bridget from X10. And I pulled her aside and we started talking about how I first met her. And she was like, wait, Beats for Peace Tour, Somerville. Right? I'm like, yeah. Like, yo, I remember Eric. And she just started going through all this memorabilia about that night with Pharoah Monch and Jahi and everybody.
Raheem Devine.
All those names.
Wow.
Devine,
So let's start with the making of the CD. Eric. The making of the CD.
Go on.
You had a whole bunch of people that wanted to be on it. What was your criteria for the actual CD, and how did you narrow it down to the 26 people that made the album?
That's a good question. You know, I actually don't remember how we selected people because I know a lot of people wanted to be on it. I think most of the people who are on it were like regulars. They were part of Critical Breakdown. They had, you know,
Look at the person who was last there.
Critical shouts.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so I think it was more around people who were a part of Critical Breakdown, like the regulars. So yeah, I mean, it was just, yeah, we ended up going to, was it Rounder? It wasn't Rounder Records. What was the studio?
Song number 19.
This little light of mine, the Chief. Yeah, it was crazy. But we shot. I feel like we recorded it. I want to say in like 48 hours or so, or 24. It was quick. It was a quick turnaround. We just went in. People came in and just delivered what they had to do, and then we just made it happen. Yeah. So it was. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, that was a wild experience. Yeah, it was great though. And the CD, I think, just again, it just speaks to what Critical Breakdown was about. It's just messages throughout each song. It's about, you know, yeah, just, I mean, I think, you know, obviously hip hop is about storytelling and relating it to what's going on in the world. And that's what we did. We told stories on that CD about what was going on in the world at the time. So, and I think if you listen to every song, you know, on that CD now, it's relevant today and what's going on in the world today as well.
Wow.
You know, just speaks to artists' responsibility to hopefully use their platform to address just all the craziness that's going on.
So. And just really, really quick for all of those that do not know what a CD is.
Oh man, come on.
Wow. I just wanted to make sure, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, we 25 years, that doesn't, like, we already aging ourselves saying 25 years, but as soon as you dads decided to bring out the hard copy, it was like, ooh, all right. So compact disc is what that was. That's why we call it a CD.
Oh my God.
Did I tell you guys about the student I had, the voice student I had? She was like, I don't know, she was at least 15 years younger than me. And she said, oh, my mother has these really weird CDs. They're big and black and they go on this machine and they do some weird thing. I'm like, a record?
Oh man, we can't. All right, we're old. Everyone watching right now, we are old people.
We're old.
We are
like,
listen.
I still come from the vinyl era. I still come from this era. The vinyl era. Yeah.
You know,
listen, my mother had 8-track, so yes, I am the oldest on the
8-track.
I passed 50 in March, guys.
Man.
Oh my Lord.
Congrats.
Let us also take time to shout out Damon Butler and Arts for Humanity who created
listen.
packaging for that album. So Pro Black. I talked to him earlier. He's like he wouldn't be able to make it today, but he wanted to give you his flowers, Eric, and say thank you for everything.
Absolutely.
So Pro Black, man. Shout out to the one Pro Black.
Eric, and I just want to say AF. Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, ALA. No. I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge them because I can remember I still have this painting in my living room, buying a piece from Martha 27 for like $35. And like just, I mean, them having the space to do their art. Afro-D was saying that while he was performing, someone's on the side doing like all of the elements of hip hop were in that.
Definitely. And I just wanted to add and give a shout out to those guys too, because that whole ALA crew, Dame, Ferb, Berg, Sun One, Deems, like all those guys are people that raised me and friends that grew up in the South End. And one of the things that they always did was encourage us to express ourselves. They all gave us the space. They gave us the encouragement. So anything that I did was in line with that, like just paying that forward, you know, like this is how the older guys and the older women show each other love. It's because there was the opposite of that too. I had older guys in my neighborhood that were like, yo, these dudes are from over there. We got beef with them. You got to be the most gangster in the world. Let's do that. But then I also had these other people that poured into me, which allowed me to do those same things through critical breakdown. So yeah, shout out to shout out
and
to the
Zoomix. Can't forget about Zoomix.
Shout out to Corey. Big shout out to Corey as well, man. He was a huge part of the reason why we are who we are today. The element that him and Zoomix brought, because without the sound, we wouldn't have what we had. So
I actually last year I did a workshop with Corey. We presented at UMass Amherst. So I came back to Massachusetts, and Corey and I co-presented the together. So that was one of those like full circle moments. But I echo that. Shout out to Corey.
And those were kids doing that. I mean, they were all young people.
So Eric, when you look back 25 years ago, even your young daughter who was just said a little few words on the mic is now doing incredible things for herself. When you look back and see what you have raised in all of us, man, what are your thoughts, man? Like you raised all of us.
I mean, I feel like you all raised me too. So I feel like we raised each other and held each other up, you know. So I mean, I had just gotten back to Boston. I had moved away, decided to move back to Boston. I had this little 5-year-old girl in my life that I was responsible for raising, and you know, had this job at A.F.S.C, was doing this organizing work and all that, and then you know, to have this community of creatives, artists, and you know, it really was a community that raised her and helped raise me too as a father. And you know, so it was really family. I mean, Critical Breakdown was family. We did, you know, when we didn't have our meetings at Cambridge Cares About AIDS and our artichoke pizzas, we were, you know, Cindy had to have an artichoke pizza.
Like
but when we weren't doing it,
they can have a slice. I don't need the whole thing.
They can have a slice, but you get the whole thing. You get it to yourself. And Cindy gets to hand it out, you know. So, but we would do
Monday meetings.
The Mondays meet, and we would meet at my house, and we would have like meetings at my house sometimes. We would have meetings, like it was just, again, it was a community. It was a part of a family, you know. So it's just a beautiful, it was a beautiful thing. So
Random moments of stuff that you forgot you remembered. Like you're like,
oh yeah. I mean, I'm having like, as we're talking, I'm having these like flashback moments of like, oh snap, that's right, I forgot about.
During our meetings, we would spend the first hour trying to define what socially conscious meant.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we would have conversations and people didn't like the word and some people liked the word and other people wanted to call it something else. And it was just like, I think we got to the point where like, this is what we're about. Like, you know, you can't curse, you can't you can't use misogynistic, homophobic lyrics. You got to like uplift the community and everyone has to feel safe and welcomed when they walk in the door. That's socially conscious, plain and simple. Yeah. So, I mean, I think those were the conversations we had. And like, it was the group of people coming together to think about like, all right, so next month, what do we want to do the theme? What should the theme be? Who are the artists we should reach out to? What's it going to look like? I mean, so it was really everybody coming together to make it happen, which was a beautiful and sometimes chaotic process, but it worked.
Yeah, because there were 50 of us. And, you know, just the fact that everybody could put in their input. Like, what did you think about last night? It's not like it was months later. It was like the day after.
And it was open to anybody who wanted to come in. You didn't have to be a Critical Breakdown board member or whatever. It was just come and talk. And
that was great.
One of the things I also enjoyed was the fact that you really celebrated Women's Her Story Month, Eric, and you really gave platforms to Black Out Boston and reflect the strength. And shout out to Shayna, man. What a boss Shayna
Ellie, yes.
And Raw Earth with Kiki and Shay. what they
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to I'm in awe of just what this has become. And years later, I get reminded often. Me and Session have been talking the last couple of days, just our own personal moments. And I said I wasn't going to say this on air, but I might as well just put it out there. When you told me that Session and Sci-Fi were going to host, I was like, nah, bro, nah, I don't want to share. This was young, egotistical me, because I was just so loving the fact that I was doing this, because this is, because of this, I got to do radio and do this now and stuff. But then I looked at the bigger picture and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't really a me thing. This is more of a we thing. And I really got to see those two come into their own. And Such and I became great friends, and we're like brothers now and everything. So because of that moment, I was like, I saw something at first. I was like, wait, nah, this is supposed to be. But once I got out of it, it was all about me thing, and really saw it was a we thing. And then I can contact this man, and we've worked together even recently on a couple of projects that he's doing. It really just turned into a great family element where I can just call and say, I need you for this. Cindy can call me anytime. I worked with Afro. We were a group together. So this really spawned a whole bunch of family ventures outside of this that all started here. And I'm truly thankful for everyone on this camera right now. Y'all made me a better person because I was an egotistical asshole back then.
That was metaphoric.
Yeah,
I was. That was
metaphoric. Exactly. That's different now. Exactly.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick. I actually got to run. I got to help take care of the kids. My youngest is 3, so it's I gotta go.
Oh, beautiful.
It's such a blessing to see you all.
Blessing.
I saw you hit me up on Instagram.
And I'm gonna stay in touch with you all much better.
Yeah, stay in
Those
touch,
I haven't been in touch with recently, like I'm gonna follow up because you're all doing
absolutely.
Great
yes,
things
please,
out there.
bro. DM me your phone number, Pete, when you get a chance, bro, and we can stay in touch.
Yeah,
I think we should, before you go, Afro, I think that Daz, if you could just talk a little bit about the archive that's happening, because I think
I was gonna definitely do that
real quick.
So DJ Troy Frost is putting together an archive to basically,
and Sevilla Malloy.
I reached out to Sevilla, but she was busy today. I tried to get her to come tonight, but she was just too busy. They are putting together an archive to basically chronicle everything that we're talking about in a more visual sense, to get a really true idea of what it is. So if you have flyers, if you have video, if you have anything that is related to what this movement is, please, by all means, reach out to Cindy so we can get it to Sylvia and Troy so they can continue to build on what it is that this movement has become. So
just so you know, Daz, just so you know, as far as flyers and all that, they have have a notebook or whatever. It's like a book with all the flyers, articles, everything. They already have it. I sent it to them. They have it. They got videotapes of one of the Women's Her Story Month events that we did. They're archiving all of that. So
they
have a lot of that, but and they're looking at right now they're looking to interview people. They're looking to interview people. So if you can reach out to folks and just let them know that they are archiving this and they would love to talk to people who are part of it. So
I'm going to be in Boston in November, so they're going to interview me when I come in the next 40 days. So that's going to be really cool. But I just wanted to also just add that I'm a married man now, and I feel that I have really matured a lot, and I'm truly thankful for the ass whoopings that I got from all of you during this time, because I truly feel it made me who I am today, and I really look at life differently, where it's okay to share, because once you're a part of the movement, you're a part of it for life. So I wanted to thank all of you for dealing with me when I really wasn't at my best, and I'm still a work in progress. Come along,
man. We're all
checked each other, man. Like, I mean, that was the best part, is that we all kind of left our egos out of it and allowed ourselves to be mentored into our best place, right? I mean, regardless if it was someone who was being not on their best behavior, or if it was someone who wasn't, coming out of their shell enough, or someone who wasn't seeing themselves, whatever the issue was, we all mentored each other out of those spaces and into better spaces. Guys, don't be hard on yourself.
Oh no, I am.
You needed.
I'm glad it happened. So Eric, in closing, and I want everyone to say this, but before we get everyone's final thoughts, is there any way we could possibly get a reunion open mic somewhere down the line, sir?
Man, listen. I mean, so I will say, if you check out Critical Breakdown LA, we have kind of revived something Critical Breakdown related. So we're doing acoustic performances with artists. It's all live. It's all content right now. I'm working at Music Forward, which is the nonprofit arm of Live Nation. We have access to venues. Yeah, so we're looking at doing possibly some stuff in Boston right now, maybe at like Brighton Music Hall. So it has it. I mean, is it Critical Breakdown? It's Critical Breakdown ish. It's kind of has that vibe because so I mean, there are possibilities. Yeah, we need to think about how to make it happen.
Yes.
So
we definitely do. Final thoughts on where you see the next 25 years going, not just open mic format, but just in general.
Wait, I gotta do the math. Hold on.
I hope I'll still be here at 85.
Let me get my pad out. Hold on. 25
because there's a lot of great
make a time capsule, Eric. Write down.
There's a lot of great open mics right now, not only in the city of Boston, but in the U.S. and even the world, that are just taking the creative space by storm. And I really love what has been going down all over the world from whenever I get a chance to catch it. But when you look at this, when you look at what we did 25 years from now, from this moment, just as in a creative space, where do you see creative forces like this going? Do you like the direction that's going in? What changes would you like to see? And what are you most proud of for you as a respected person, each of you? What are you most proud of in your life, and where you see where you were at then and where you are at now?
Well, I guess I'll say something quick before I go because I have work tonight.
Charge this battery.
It's a I guess about like a 50-50 thing for me for now. Where the direction of open mics are going and how music is going and stuff, because there's some music I don't like and then there's music I do like, right? And I've been happy enough to go to certain open mics out here in Toronto and seeing the artists that perform out here. And there's a lot of great musicians out here, and at the same time, there's a lot of musicians out here that is pretty whack, and it shows, like, even that's, with the music that's out now, it's like, even like the commercial music that's out where it's like, it's not good, but it still gets played. And it's just like, why do like whack artists mostly get like, have like support, have a lot of support behind them? You know what I mean? Whether it's friends of friends, they get a lot of support. They have, or they're smart enough to know the right connections. You know what I mean? And it's just like, or like some people who do good music, but they don't know anyone or they don't have the connections and they want to get music out or stuff like that. So it's like, it all depends, I guess. But for me, I've always just liked performing. So I just like going to open mics. I've got a chance to do a few to open up for a few shows for a few people, because other people see me perform. So they'll ask me if I can open up for someone or whatever. So I've been lucky enough to get a few openers and stuff like that since I moved back here. But just as of lately, like the past couple of years, have I done anything? Like I've written a few songs. Have I performed much? Not as much. I've slowly slowed out of it, kind of. But if and when I do hit an open mic, yeah, I'd love to perform. I'll do something old or whatever is the last thing I've written. I'll give them that just to show some of these cats, my stuff. And they're like, yo, that's hot. You got anything? What? You have anything recorded? And it's a great feeling to have, So being older and still, I guess having it, you know what I mean? It's a great feeling still, It's like watching Ghostface, and Method Man, they still going. So it's just like, yo, these guys can still do it. I can still do it, man. So it's like, yeah.
Anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, I
I
was
think
just
we're.
chiming
Oh, sorry. Go
before.
ahead, Chastity.
Oh, no, sorry about that. I was
No,
gonna say
no, go
before I
ahead.
have to get off. All right. Yeah. Where I am now, based on what I've seen with Critical Breakdown, and Daz, you pulling this together, I see the importance of maintaining and sharing stories, and like
Yeah.
recording the stories, and us being in control of telling the history of the things that we have been part of. I work in the film and television industries now, so I'm just seeing the importance of content and storytelling, and I feel like that's kind of where I would like to see the future of things go. Working at Tyler Perry Studios, seeing like the ownership of like the production, and I'm currently at my other job with Turner Sports right now. I got to get out here, uh, yeah, because the show, like the baseball game, is on now, so I had some downtime. But yeah, I'm seeing the importance of story. Like everything that we love is based on story. And as creators, writers, artists, we all have individual stories. We can pull those together and change culture through storytelling and through ownership. We can change people's lives and like the trajectory of the future, I guess.
Right.
I'm not sure how clear that was. I
No,
apologize
that
for
was
the
perfect, bro.
incoherence, but yeah.
That was perfect. D Ruff, are you still there, bro?
Yeah, would you? I mean, I'm just moving around a lot. That's all, and I'm listening to all the things.
I wanted to kind of save you for last because as we talk about where we are as far as open mic platforms, you, my brother, are about to celebrate an upcoming anniversary of your very own.
Yes,
On
sir.
November 9th. You want to talk about that real quick for the masses?
So on November 9th, I've been blessed and honored to co-host an open mic called the If You Can Feel It, You Can Speak It open mic that will be celebrating its 15th year anniversary. So it has been an honor to use some of the values and use some of the values that I've learned from Critical Breakdown, as well as other open mics that I've also been able to be a part of after that happen to still, these are environments that I happen to still see Daz in. So Daz, when I say Verve Lounge, you know what I'm talking. Cindy, you know also Verve Lounge, when Verve Lounge used to have like a little open mic over there, in Middle East, when the Middle East up top used to have like an open mic with Matt Gannum and everything like that. So like to be able to be a part of certain open mics and to be able to see and Soup Poetry as well, and Nava and Didi, and to see some of the growth and how we've all been able to not only cultivate these spaces, but also cultivate these spaces with a purpose. Because a lot of these spaces that I've mentioned not only were open mics, but also held refuge for people when they wanted to go and protest during all of the Black Lives Matter movements, during all the Trans Lives Matter movements. So to be a part of all of that has definitely been inspirational. And then at the same time, to echo the sentiments, you kind of see where it gets watered down at the same time, where people see the crowds, but not necessarily see the love. People see the flowing of artists and the great talent, but necessarily see the support that those talented artists got. Necessarily see the compensation, whether it's food, whether it's drinks, whether it's a hug, whether it's just I see you, whether it's whatever it is that artist needed at that particular moment or that person. There are open mics and there are spaces that don't necessarily understand that in its entirety. So that comes with its own weight, right? So 25 years, VCR being, I think, over 30, like all of these spaces still cultivating, still being able to do what they do. I can say being 15 years in, oh yeah, y'all could at least said it was this heavy. Y'all could at least said the crown was like this. Y'all could have said, like, yes, imitation is a form of flattery, but that's also bull. Like, nah, like, so y'all could have warned us about that. But at the same time, also the rewards that come with this are so priceless that I wish we could have archived this, because there's certain moments that we didn't expect. Like, Eric, I know you didn't expect 25 years. Like, we didn't expect 15. So like when the movement goes, you don't question it once it starts. You just keep going. You keep feeding it however it needs to be fed. So that's where my thought is on one, the fabric in which Critical Breakdown has held when it comes to me, and its importance, how it has inspired me and cultivated the artist that I have grown to be, because not only have I done it alone, but again, 25 years and we're a big community. So folks see me. Oh, I remember your face. Oh, I remember seeing you. And so just being able to be like, oh, shoot, we are still out here. It's great. It feels like a fraternity / sorority, because you had to be here to understand why we all love each other the way we do.
You did, yep, absolutely. One last question for everybody, and then we're going to end on this note, because I'm hungry and my wife cooks like no other. And if I leave her hanging, I'm going to be on timeout permanently and won't make it to Boston in November. We've lost a lot of great people, a lot of great curators that have birthed us, that we've grown over the years to love. For me, I still think Heavy D and the passing of Dave from De La Soul still hits me the hardest. Which artistic passing still hits you all respectively the hardest, and why?
I can tell you it's not a musician.
Okay.
I was just actually talking about this the other day. Actually, I lost my mind when Ossie Davis died.
Oh, yeah.
I lost my mind because that was the epitome to me of art and activism.
Wow, that's woof. Should have had you go last, man. That just changed the whole atmosphere of this room, right, man?
Right.
Oh, anyone else want to follow that one? Good luck.
No.
Well, I mean, I will say one of my favorite artists of all times. Like, I went to a lot of her shows and have all of her albums. Was Tina Marie, and I just say, when we lose those folks, we just have to remember to remember. So if you all remember, Queen Vivian, who is listening in, wrote a play about my life's work, Hip Hop 911, and I had her write Tina Marie into the script, and Naheem Garcia, Naheem Allah, was my director. And he said, well, Cindy, how are you putting an R&B artist in a hip hop show? I said, well, anybody who knows me, I wake up listening to Square Biz. So, just making sure that not just the artist, but for Critical Breakdown, because I'm not doing shows or anything like that anymore, but I am invited to speak on a lot of panels about hip hop and the work that we've done over the years. And I made sure when I spoke on the A.F.S.C panel 2 weeks ago in Cambridge to mention Critical Breakdown, because it was a part of my history and probably rubbed off on me, because we ended up doing a CD as well. And, Eric gave us the space to be able to introduce Peace Boston to the youth at Critical Breakdown. So just, remembering to remember those people who are near and dear to us.
Amen. Eric?
Oh,
sweet jeez.
Saturday
So I mean, I think for me, I think that you know, obviously lost. We all try to figure it out and try to understand it. And
I have low hopes for Saturday night.
But to me, like the people we lose, the legacies that they leave, the music that they leave behind is just, for me, I just kind of I hold on to that. I embrace that. So like when Mr. B died, Harry Belafonte died, I thought like legendary, iconic man. You know, obviously, I mean, there's all kinds of artists. Prince. I mean, there's so many that.
Oh yeah.
But what they leave behind is again the storytelling. It's the music. So to me that's beautiful. Like I try to embrace that, and I try to remember, like for me, what is my legacy going to be? It's not going to be anything like theirs, obviously, but I want to leave at least good stories behind. I want to leave good memories. So I just try to remind myself of that. So
shout out to Eric's focus with D-Ruck's mic way off mute right now. D-Ruff! Okay, I think he muted it now. So I really couldn't hear half of what Eric just said.
Oh damn! Really? It might be my background noise.
Oh, I thought that was D-Ruff. I was like, wait.
I was about to be like live in the seat.
I'm still at work, so that's why.
Okay. D-Ruff. See, there goes my ego again. Showing my head.
Blame it D-Ruff for it.
But this time, but now that we'll call it seasoned, right? Now we are seasoned. Right? Because before you would have been like off mic, freaking out, right? Yeah, but now you're like, I love this mistake. That's good.
I love it totally. So Eric, who did you say again? I'm sorry. Just repeat that one last time.
Oh Lord, the whole thing?
No, just the name. Just the name.
Oh, I said Harry Belafonte, and I said Prince, and yeah. So.
Oh wow, yeah, definitely two major players in our industry that really. D-Ruff, are you still there, brother? How about you?
I mean,
I actually have to bounce too because I was supposed to be in a meeting like 10 minutes ago. So
hold on,
20 minutes ago.
Talks, let me just say to Eric,
sorry,
on behalf of everyone here, and the many lives that you have touched over these last 25 years, we thank you wholeheartedly for everything you've done for us. Let's keep in touch, and I hope we can all work somewhere down the line. Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for the founder.
Thank you, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Eric.
You all. Absolutely. Much love to everybody. We'll talk soon.
We love you. Thank you.
And give love to Nyla from all of us, please.
I will. Absolutely.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
God bless you, bro. All right, D-Ruff.
You too.
How about you, man? Someone that artistically, paved the road for you that is no longer here, that really just influenced you as an artist. That's who would that person be or persons?
So that's I guess it's layered, right? Because of the fact that, like, as you said earlier, a lot of people have passed. A lot of artists have passed. So to try and, I guess, pick out one that was more significant than the other would be unjust for me. Okay. And the only reason why I say that is because everyone that has passed, even more so recently, especially with Fat Man Scoop, like there's history there, right? Like, and when I say history, it's like we all grew up on that somehow, whether it was you was the DJ at the party or you was the kid at the party that you wasn't supposed to get into, that you ended up listening to, that, like, whatever you were, like each song is that, right? So some of the people that you guys mentioned are people that I heard. I might have not known the artist's name, but I know I heard that song before because it was on Saturday morning. It was on Sunday morning. So I know it was like, it's a different fabric. It's a different layer. So for me, I I can't specify which one because then I feel like I'm disrespecting an era. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, it might be someone. For me, it might be like Mac Miller, right? And the reason why his name automatically comes to mind is because of how it happened, because of how young it happened. And I'm not necessarily taking away from anybody else that has died young, because at one point there was a thing where you couldn't walk around with a white lighter based on the fact that so many people died young with white lighters. Like, so like I can't take that away. And so that's why I say, like, with everybody that has passed had a different different impact on how it was that I responded. Whether it was a natural cause of death, which allowed me to celebrate their life and celebrate the accomplishments that they had and celebrate the ways that they were able to celebrate their lives, or whether it was like something that was a little bit more sketchy and tragic and had me have to reassess my own life and reassess time and reassess the art and reassess what I'm putting out and reassess, like, whatever it is, it's still an impact. And so thank you, all of you, for having a specific person, because for me, it's difficult to name that one person.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's real, bro. That is definitely real. Man, this was so much fun. I'm so thankful for all of you to take time out of your busy schedules to remember to remember, as Mom just said. Thank y'all once again. Kudos to all of you for your great artistic viewpoints and your creativity. I couldn't have done it without all of you. Thank you so much.
Daz, I just want to add one thing, because you asked about 25 years from now. I'm hoping that I will be playing hip hop bingo and you'll be the person calling, because you're the one that remembers everything. I'll be 84 years old in 25 years. So yeah, hip hop bingo.
We're gonna plan it now. We should start writing out the call cards, right?
And I'll be 75.
So you can still call them.
Damn, right. 75? Good Lord.
5 weeks before me. That's our joke. We always talk about this. 5 weeks before me, you're all before me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been
in
a
25 years. I expect to see all of you thriving, succeeding, happy, with grandchildren and grand aunties and nephew, whatever you call it, nephews, nieces, whatever. All the god babies and the god babies, god babies. I expect to see it.
It's going to be a wonderful. Well, we'll
I
see
expect
what
to
happens.
see happiness and thriving health and success from all of you. That's what I expect to see in 25 years and in 50 years.
Right.
Well,
this has been a
yes, ma'am.
Wonderful trip down memory lane. Thank you, Darcy. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, D-Ruff. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you for bringing this together. This is like a soul food. Like, no, not soul food. That's not what I meant.
Yeah, it is. Shoot.
But it's food, but it's not food. It's something else. It's like restorative. Like, you know, it's like
it's soul food. No, you
nourishment.
Said it,
That's I was saying better than food. It's like soul nourishment.
It's food for thought. This is food for thought. As E-Rock would
I love y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great episode. Do remember November 9th, 2024. Where's the event again, D-Ruff? Where's the new venue?
It is over at the Civic Pavilion at 5 Congress Street, right across the street from the Haymarket Tea Station, or the Boston Public Market, whichever one you're more familiar with. Either way, we are right in that area. You'll literally spot us. We got the big sign right out front.
I highly encourage everyone to go check out the 15th anniversary of the If You Can Feel It, You Can Speak It open mic. I literally changed my flight so I can make sure that I am there for this event.
Oh, beautiful.
Wow.
So I will be there November 9th. That's when we touch ground. And then on the 10th, we will be there, brother. We will be there, my wife and I. So you get to meet her in person for the very first time. So Cindy, come on down. the wife in person for the very first time.
For sure.
Absolutely. Thank
For
you
sure.
guys once again.
Love
This
it.
has been a very, very touching episode. But I'm about to go because Wes got food. and
Enjoy
I
your
need-
dinner.
All right, guys. Blessings
Enjoy
to
it.
all of you. A wonderful time. D-Ruff, I will see you in November. Cindy, I will see
See
you also
y'all.
in November as well.
Yep.
And
I
Darce,
hope to see you
let's stay
guys in the
touch.
spring.
See you in the
Yeah,
spring,
man.
Darcy.
Okay.
All right, guys. We are
Good
done.
night to
Thank you,
everyone who
everybody.
tuned in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Session. Thank you, Sci-Fi. Thank you, Afro D. Ellie, I know you was trying to get on, but we have you here. We know you was watching with us. And kudos to everyone that tuned in. Sister Viv, we love you. And my brother Divine tuned in. And any last shouts y'all want to give, feel free to give them.
Thank you
We'll
and
be
good
here
night.
all night. Your food will be cold like Goldilocks.
All right, I'm
night.
out. All right, guys. God bless you and good night. Thank y'all again.
Good night.